Okay folks, here we are, part 3 of our Chrysler Concorde 2.7 liter engine timing chain water pump replacement and repair. The last video that you watched in part 2 was removal of the valve covers, and I showed you how to use an 8mm wrench on the top and then a 10mm socket, an 8mm socket and a 10mm socket, deep socket, to go ahead and pull the valve covers off. Now I've got both valve covers loose, and this one, as you can see, there's nothing to it. You just kind of have some patience to get back there to that back bolt back there, and then jimmy this one out. Just be careful. Again, this is, mold, plastic material. It's been hot, so it's a little brittle, so just be careful pulling it out. Take your time, don't get angry at it. And so that's what we're going to do next. We're going to get these valve covers off here pretty soon. We're also going to get this crossmember out of the way, so that way we can get access into here and get into the front of our engine. Before we take these valve covers off, I am going to use compressed air. I'm going to blow all this dirt and get as much crud as I can out of here. So I'm going to pause it and do that first. You can see all the dirt inside of there. Alright, so to remove the front cross member, you're going to use a 13mm, you're going to use 10mm, and you're going to use a 7mm socket. Alright, to start off with, the first thing you want to do is loosen and remove the 13mm bolts holding your hood latch in. I don't know if, there you go. Holding your hood latch, so just pull those bolts off. Then from there, it doesn't matter how you do it. You're going to have a 13mm here, a 13 here, a 13 here, okay, and a 13 here. You're going to have a 10 here for your washer fluid. And you're going to have a 10 here. You're going to have a 7 here. Now these are your lights, so be prepared to realign them. You're going to remove this. You're also going to have a 13mm here across the front, 2 here, and then 2 10s, 1 here and 1 here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all this and get my cross member out and show you what that looks like. Alright, so now that we got all of our bolts loose, I just want to take a moment here and show you. When you take this apart, you see that hole there? That's how this goes together. That just fits right inside of there. And then you can see that just goes right inside of there. Okay, and to get it out, you just take your finger, go ploop, pop it out, and then pop that out. And then you can remove that. And then once you've got all your bolts removed, and now remember, you've taken the top of your headlight assembly out, so just be careful, be gentle, kind of pull backwards. Make sure you got all your clips undone. And then just lift up and out. Okay. And there we go. Our cross member is out. I'm going to set this to the side just for a second here for now. And now we have access to our radiator, our fans, and the whole front of this engine, as you can see. So now the next step is going to be to begin removing all of this out of the way. So I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to pull off my valve covers. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so the next step in the process is to drain the radiator and go ahead and get it removed. And I'd like to point something out here. This vehicle, I believe, has been hit in the front. And you can see where our AC condenser has been bent backwards into the radiator. This is currently and is going to make pulling this radiator out just a little bit more difficult. The reason being, see down here, okay, when you're ready to get to this step, remember that there's 2 10mm bolts down inside of here, all right? And I use a ratcheting wrench to get down here and get them out. And that's going to separate your AC condenser from your radiator. And then from there, you should just be able to kind of pick this up and move it out of the way. Go ahead and just simply unplug your fans. You don't need to disconnect them from the radiator. Just simply unplug it and pull it all out as one unit. Also, don't forget your bottom radiator hose down there. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it here, and I'm going to see what I can do about separating this radiator from this condenser without damaging it. Alright, so as you can see, I've got the radiator with the fans out. I want to point something out. On the driver's side, bottom side of this radiator, there's going to be a bracket right here, okay? It's going to be buried underneath wires and hoses. It's going to be very difficult to get to. It's going to be a 10 millimeter, and it's going to have your AC condenser and cooler lines are going to be here. You will not be able to pull the radiator out without disconnecting that. Just take your time and be patient and wrestle with it. Also, it will help to have a good set of, as you can see, hose pliers, so that way you can get down in here, grab a hold of these hoses, and pull them off. And you're actually going to have to go like this to get to that. So now that we have a radiator out, without having to disconnect our condenser, and again, I'm going to revisit this condenser with the way it's just bowed. I don't know if that's going to install without causing damage, so we'll just have to see how that plays out later on in life here. The next step now is to start taking things off of the front of this engine. You can see down in here. And you can see where I'm going to go next is I'm going to go ahead and get my thermostat housing off and out of the way. And then I'm going to start on my belt tensioners. And so what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and get my thermostat housing off and out of the way, get my valve covers completely off and out of the way, and then go ahead and call it a day on this video. It's starting to push 1 o'clock and the sun's coming out. So, all right, folks, so I'm going to pause it. And what I'm going to do is use an 8 millimeter right here on these bolts just to get this thermostat housing off. Okay, folks, well, there you have it. This is going to be my stopping point for today. The next video will show the removal of all the pulleys off of the front of the engine. And then the video after that will show the removal of the front timing cover and all the timing components. Now, if you can see here, the top cylinder heads, yeah, good luck getting there is no way to get this there's no cover right here. If you see, the cover is right here. So in order to change this, and mainly just this secondary chain out, I am going to be removing the cams. So I'll be showing you how to set this engine to top dead center and doing all the other cool stuff. Well, folks, this concludes part 3 of the Chrysler Concorde 2.7 liter timing and water pump repair and removal. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Please like, share, and subscribe, Facebookers and YouTubers. Thank you, everybody, for supporting me, Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician.